welcome everyone. Glad you're all here. This is a very, for me, special natural ones. We're going to look at Macuahuitl, my Kickstarter that's going on right now. And yeah, thanks Vic for showing up and
You're welcome.
Looking at my little Aztec game with me.
Yeah, that's already made more on Kickstarter than my whole Kickstarter did in 2 days. But I'm not salty. I'm not jealous or anything. I'm just saying.
The next one you do, I think, will be really good.
Yeah. No, I'm genuinely happy for you because I know this was your big passion project. You actually struggled with it for a while and everything, but it finally came together. And yeah, it's awesome seeing that people are actually kind of clamoring for it. So
yeah, I was worried that this would be too niche. And that it would, that not enough people would be interested in it, and I was wrong. People seem to want this, which is very humbling for me. Right now it's at, let's see, we're at 67%. So
yeah, that's awesome.
After 2 days, 2.5 days or so, I don't even know at this point, but 27 days to go. I'm going to throw the link in for the Kickstarter for those of you that, you probably already all know about it that are watching, but, and it's in the video description as well. But yeah, I should just show the Kickstarter page here. So yeah, we're at, we are at, let me close this here, 66,726 out of 10,000. And, I'm really hoping that we get there. Oh, someone left a comment. What is this person saying? I back this because I want to include this content in my gaming and because I want to show my support for your ongoing content creation, which I really enjoy. Thanks, Basic Expert Guy. Well, thank you, Isaac. Isaac Fasher.
That's a pretty funny last name.
Oh yeah, I'm not zoomed.
Fasher, considering all the stuff you've gone through the last few days.
It's not been too bad.
Yeah.
I didn't want. I've kind of tried to avoid it, but oh, and thank you, Cal. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing it. It means a lot. I have a Facebook page now. I had to make a Facebook page because I ran ads for it. So I'll see if I can find the Facebook page and throw it in chat too. If you want to like the Facebook page, I don't know how often I'm going to update it, but
yeah,
I don't even know how you do this. I haven't used Facebook in forever.
Yeah.
I hate Facebook so much.
Same. Facebook is worse than Twitter almost.
It really is. Let's see. I think this should work. If anyone's interested in following on Facebook, I'm not sure how much, like I said, I'll update on there. But if you have Facebook and you want to,
I was trying to highlight it so I could copy it, but
oh yeah, it just goes to show.
Yeah. Drop it in the private chat too, so I can follow you.
Okay. There you go. But yeah, I was like, this is something I've struggled with for probably 2 years. When I first had the idea, when I first decided I want to write a game, this is actually one of the first ideas I had, because I knew that I had Azteca blood in me, and even as a kid, I always found the mythology and stuff interesting, and so it was one of the first things I wanted to do. And at first I tried doing it with BX and it didn't work. And then I tried doing it with AD&D and it didn't work. And what I mean by didn't work, it just didn't feel right. But then I, got into OD&D 0 edition and white box stuff. And I really discovered that, I don't know, the white box is really special and I really enjoy it. And it's the edition that started it all. And it just fits really well. I don't know if it's because the nature of 0E is hackable, it encourages it and whatnot, but it just felt right. And also I think white box needs more love. There's so many BX takes with BX or whatnot out there, and white box is something that rule set is something that not many creators tackle very often.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it's worked out, and you know, I'm glad people are interested.
Yeah, definitely.
And Robert Cuzlin says, especially gamers of a certain age or playing style. Yeah, I know. Like, there's some nostalgia for Zero E, for White Box, and I wasn't there. I wasn't even a twinkle in my father's eye when that edition released, but I've really come to love it and appreciate it. As like they Jerry and Dave really got it right the first time around. I feel like they got a lot of things right, as much as people lament its layout or its quote unplayability. People played it still, despite
Yeah.
all critiques, and they had a good time. So
Exactly.
and thank you, Mr. Big. Mr. Big's a cool guy. He follows me on Twitter. You should look him up. He writes books about mafia stuff, and
Yeah, he follows me too.
He's a good guy. And Cal says, I have my original white box set from '77. Well, you're lucky. I would love to own an original. I just got my Orange Spine DMG in, and PHB is coming tomorrow, I think, maybe. But Zero E is something that is just too rich for my blood at the moment. And thank you, Devil's Theater. I appreciate it. So I guess we should get to what everyone wants to see. So find the Facebook page. Find the Kickstarter, support it if you want to support the project. It would mean a whole lot to me to do that. And let's look at the PDF here. So I gotta look at how to share that here. Here we go. I don't like how StreamYard, when you tell it to share, it throws me off because it takes you to that window, and it's annoying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here. So yeah, you got the cover. It's it's behind me on my my green screen here. And if you guys out there have questions, let me know. Looks like we got a good one right here. Any plans to translate Macuahuitl into Spanish? I am not well versed enough in that, despite my heritage. I don't know Spanish well enough, I feel, to translate the game well enough. Mr. Big here, who here's his at for Twitter. Give him a follow. He suggested Spanish as well, and I think Spanish would be a good idea if someone, everyone wants a Dutch version, I think, because they want you to pronounce the Nahuatl words,
Macuahuitl.
I want to translate into Spanish, but I would want to find someone who could help me with that. And so, if someone is willing to do that, and you want to get them in contact with me, if I have maybe if the Quickstart is well enough and I have some extra funds that would allow a translation, I would do that. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
it's something I want to do. It's just it would be I'm not able to do it yet. So. And yeah, Shane says it needs to be translated in the Dutch. Ryan, question: any plans to translate Macuahuitl in the Dutch?
Well, I am planning my own kind of Dutch language, partially Dutch language fantasy game.
Yeah.
So.
Stretch goal. Yeah, I think some people, some marketers messaged me and were like, you need to have stretch goals and stuff like that. And it's like, well, no, I don't want to do that. First of all, I've never done a Kickstarter before. This is the first time I've ever done this. So, we're gonna keep it simple this time around.
Yeah, that's quite it too.
No stretch goals. But yeah, let's look at the PDF. If you guys again have questions, feel free to ask them. Or if you can't see it well enough, let me know too.
There you go. I changed my background to match the team.
There you go. That's a pretty sick piece of art, actually. I like that.
Yeah, about to be sacrificed.
Will the premium cover be made from flayed Aztec skin? No. Stretch skin goals. Mm-hmm. Flayed Teshkoken skin. In our play tests, which we kind of taken a break from because I'm running this Kickstarter, so it's been kind of chaotic.
Mhm.
But we were gonna probably get back at it too because like I'm having fun running, obviously my game. But Shane here is a player in it. He's credited in the book here. He's one of the play testers here. My brother Shane Whipstow's been on the. I need to add a curator's name in here too because he play tested a session as well. I just hadn't gone around to it. Who's Ryan Heffelfinger here? They have a grudge going on with the Teshkokens because I'm running the game prior to the Triple City of Alliance between the three cities, which Texcoco was one of them. And they had there's been an ongoing rivalry and full out warfare between Texcoco and Tenochtitlan. So, you know,
Yeah.
he was in. Oh yeah, Ryan was in 2 sessions. He was in 2 sessions. I need to add his name to the book still. There's going to be still some last minute edits to this PDF too, just so everyone knows it is done. But I'm sure there's stuff that I'm going to find. And I'm going to be like trying to make this better up until the very end. And before this is sent off to printers and stuff. So, yeah, this is
I'm never in anyone's book. I'm always at the periphery.
I should thank people like you too. I'm going to add a thank you section for like those of you that maybe you didn't play test it, but like you're always encouraging me, Vic, and we're always trying to like lift each other up, and I'm always appreciative of that. So yeah. I think thanking those are friends that have really been cheering and rooting for this is going to be necessary. So, as many pointed out, though, we have like this here, which the PDF is hyperlinked, which I know many people care for, many people like. So it goes to various sections in the PDF. I added some art in here because it was like kind of dead, so I added some of the Zodiac signs into here. So that's Tecpatl the dagger, all that kind of stuff. We got an introduction and how to pronounce Nahuatl words. So, this isn't going to be, I will say for those of you out there, yeah, the curator isn't important enough to get added. Pronunciation has been something I know a lot of people are concerned about. And let me tell you, as someone who's been studying this for 2 years, I still can't get words right. It's still very hard. Our Western mouths are not designed to speak these words as we've grown up speaking, well, in Vic's case, Dutch, in my case, English. Like our mouths, there's studies out there that show that children are able to be born knowing how to speak almost any language. And then once they start hearing their parents and those around them talk, they start to try and make those sounds themselves. And then their mouth sort of develops, the muscles and everything develop to speak that language. And so, this is very hard because it's not obviously Latin based. It's totally different language, and it's very difficult. The vowels and consonants and sounds are very different. So, I will not begrudge people for pronouncing words wrong because I get it wrong still too, and it's okay. So, one thing you just got to know is the X in the language makes the she sound. So it's not like for here, it's not Mexica, it's Mexica. So that will get you a long way with pronouncing a lot of the words that will become confusing. And the toll sound, I get this sound wrong a lot. It's like, it's not just like little or toll. It's kind of like guttural, like it almost has like a sound. It's very kind of clicky, and it sounds very native, like I guess so. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that you at least had a start to being able to pronounce words. And at the end here, I have a glossary, which gives you how to pronounce words. I have a phonetic thing here. These are like common words in the Nahuatl language, and their phonetic pronunciation here as well, so that you can feel somewhat comfortable. If you study this, you'll kind of figure out how to pronounce certain words when you see them as you see these pronunciations. So, like a knife or made of obsidian, tekpatl, tekpatl, patl, that TL sound still gets me.
Yeah, it take a bottle.
Tekpatl, yeah. Macuahuitl,
Obsidian
Mali.
blood, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I'll say is the name for this was originally Obsidian and Blood, and some people have criticized me changing the name, and I guess I should say why I changed the name. I changed the name because there's a novel series out there called Obsidian and Blood already, and the name, I looked it up, was not trademarked. The author of it didn't have like a any, I guess, quote, legal right to the name, but as a creator myself, I want to respect other creators, and so I decided to change the name, even though I could have like gone forward with it and legally been fine. I just felt like it would have been a dick move, so I didn't want to do that.
Yeah. It's one thing if it's like some completely different genre or whatever, and like it's like no connection to your stuff. But if it's like a novel series about like Aztecs and stuff, like then yeah, maybe that's a good way to go.
Yeah, like I would want someone to give me respect as a creator, especially if they're a creator too. And I wanted to give that person, that author, respect too. Like, there are books about Aztecs.
Yeah,
they're like it's a novel. It's like a novel. Aztec noir, I think, was the genre. Sounds very interesting. And so I just wanted to respect that person, and I didn't want to step on their toes. So I went with changing the name to Macuahuitl. And that's the sword that many Aztec warriors had wielded, and it's the name I actually originally wanted for the game, but everyone told me that's too hard to say, so I saw it as an excuse when I saw someone else had already a series of books with the same name. I was like, well, I'm going back to the original name that I wanted it to be. So
yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, we got a chapter here on dice. So the thing about you might want your typical polyhedral dice, but within this game, you're going to pretty much be using D20s and D6s only, to keep in the spirit of 0E of white box. So you could, if you wanted to, try and use like the later Greyhawk damages for weapons. There's that would totally be possible, but I like the use of D6 and D20 as Crossface has been saying lately. It's the concept of going monkey, just going primitive, with what they had back in the 70s when they ran these games, and it was just a D20 and a D6, and and you used your D20 for percentile as well. So
how does that work?
So it's numbered 0 to 9 twice. So like one side is 0 to 9, and then the other side is 0 to 9. And you would roll 2 of these, or you'd roll, and one would be your 10s and one would be your
I got it.
One's position. So because they didn't have these D10s back then. So these are new, and these are actually not the same kind of geometry as, say, like a D20.
Yeah.
These are a different kind of shape. So yeah, you got your basic attribute scores. I went, obviously, because it's white box, in the old school method of listing abilities. So strength, intelligence, wisdom, constitution, dexterity, and charisma. That's the order that 0E lists them, and that's the order I went with them. I did try to link your social class. So if you roll your 3d6, and let's see, I rolled not that great. I rolled 11. So I would be a Pochteca, probably in the merchants or artisan class. So I tried to link charisma to sort of your social status as well.
That's cool.
And then, you got your number of followers and their loyalty modifiers for morale checks and loyalty checks and whatnot. You got your ability score modifiers. Again, white box modifiers here, white box style. These aren't exact like how white box does it. This is closer to like, which is one of my favorite white box sort of clones or takes, which is Matt Finch's white box fantastic medieval adventure game, where, you know, the best you're going to get is a +1 and the worst you're going to get is a -1. And I know some people, and I don't know what you guys in chat feel about that, but I'm okay with that because I like that the scores matter, but they don't matter too much, you know, where 7 to 14 is a wide range of where you're average and you're not going to get punished for having like you could have a strength of 7 and you could still like be somewhat effective in combat. You're not going to be penalized, you know?
Yeah.
I kind of like that. We got hit points, hit dice. So one thing that's different within Macuahuitl that is different from this is based on a house rule that I knew a lot of old school veteran gamers did back in the 70s when they weren't really sure how hit dice worked within it. So like, let's go to a character class. So the way it works here is let's go to character classes. Let's look at the Eagle Warrior. So you have one hit die here. So you're going to add your modifiers to it when you're leveling up or when you're making your character. So you'd roll 1d6, all the hit dice for every class and all the monsters are d6. I rolled a 3. So when I would level up, if I get to level 2, I'm going to roll 2d6 and if it's more than 3, I'll take it. If it's not more than 3, I don't get any new hit points. I'm stuck at level 2 with 3 hit points still. So I kind of wanted to keep it kind of brutal. This is going to be a brutal game. There's going to be lots of player fatalities in this, but I wanted to keep it player character. Sorry, don't kill your players. I wanted to keep it very like low power and not low power, but dangerous. I wanted mudcore. I wanted to keep it like bloodcore. There we go.
Bloodcore. There we go. Yeah.
So like I rolled a 3, and if I leveled up, let's see, I rolled it again. I rolled 5. So like, okay, I'll take 5. So now I have 5 hit points as an Eagle Warrior, and then at level 3, you know, I'm gonna get to roll 3, and so I did really good there. I got 10. I doubled my hit points. So at level 3, I'll take that. I'll have 10. But let's say I roll 3 at level 3, and I rolled all ones. I got super unlucky. I rolled a 3 again. I would just keep the 5 that I had from level 2, and I'd be stuck with 5 hit points at level 3. So yeah, and thank you, Black Lodge Games. So that's how advancing in hit dice works in Macuahuitl. Let's go back here. I have the typical alignments. You have chaotic, neutral, and lawful or law. But it's kind of an interesting spin on this. So you're going to be pretty much running an evil campaign when you're running this game. So think of law. If you're going to use like 9-point alignment, you're essentially playing as lawful evil. Neutral is like you don't care about Aztec society at all. You might be sort of just kind of selfish, or maybe you secretly don't believe in the gods or something like that. And then chaotic is like, for some reason, you're actively working against Aztec society. Most players are going to be either neutral or lawful, meaning that they're either indifferent towards the things going on within Aztec society, the status quo, the norm, or they're going to be 100% behind it. And pretty much to be like any of the warrior classes, you're pretty much going to have to be lawful. But I wanted to throw alignment in there anyways, because, you know, it's typical of the genre of Zero-E and sword and sorcery, harkening back to like the Michael Moorcock novels and stuff like that. But I did feel like it would fit the religious element within the religious elements that are within like Aztec religion and belief. So, you know, I'm hoping that people dig that. So this will be a fun part. Not only are you rolling randomly 3d6 for your ability scores or your attributes, but you are also rolling on this calendar here, which is your zodiac sign. So I'll roll one real quick so we can. I'll show you guys how it works. It's really simple. Some people seem confused by this, but it's actually really simple. So you're gonna roll a d20 for this side and a d20 for the top side, and then where they intersect is the day that you are born on, or that your name that you're born on, and you have 3 days to change that because it might not be a good day to be born on, to be named on. So I'll roll a d20. I rolled a 2, so Ecatl, and then we're gonna roll a d20 for the top, 14. So that's gonna be 6. So and then I go all the way back over to here to the first day. So it's all in is day 1. That is the Trakenia or Tresenia, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, of or the phase or the cycle or the zodiac sign that my character would be born under. So then I would just go and I would go look at all in one and find out what that means. This is neither lucky nor unlucky period, no blessing and no curse. But it might be lucky. Like, what if I got Quetzalcoatl? A very lucky period. Men born during this time are said to be brave. Those NPCs, so if you have followers that follow the character, have a morale score increase by 2 to a maximum of 18 from this boon due to their bravery displayed by the character. The character has +2 bonus to any saving throw against spells and supernatural or against the spells, the supernatural or fear. So like some of this could be really bad though. Let me see if I can find this is a very unlucky period. The malevolent spirits of the Kihuateteo come out during this time. See, I struggle, guys, too, so it's okay. Bringing disease. A character born during this time must reduce his constitution by 2 to a minimum of 3. All saving throws against sickness, disease, and poison are done so with a -1 penalty.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty.
So let's say like you end up on a bad day. You actually have 3 days. What is it? I don't remember. It's been so like crazy writing this. I think it's 3 days if I remember correctly.
It's fine. No creator ever remembers their own rules.
You can wait 4 days. So you could wait up to 4 days. So let's say you get an unlucky day, and if you were to wait 4 days to be named, you could shift it so that you get something beneficial. Some people I know are like, oh, I was trying to gamify like what actually parents of Aztec children did, which was this. Like if they were born on an unlucky day, they would do that. They'd wait if they could wait 4 days or within 4 days to name their child so that they would end up on a good zodiac sign, they would. So you do have that option. So you can try and avoid some of the bad stuff if you were able to, and you're going to be fairly likely to do it. But there's going to be instances where like you're going to roll a character may roll poorly and they might be stuck with a bad day or a bad zodiac sign. There are good and bad days here. So if I was born on, so I would probably keep the neutral day, like whatever, it's fine. So I rolled 2 and 14, so that was 6 here. So 6, I don't remember if that's a lucky or a good bad day. We scroll down, that is a unlucky day. So I could try and wait 4 days if I wanted to, or I could just try and roll on the unlucky day bane, which is 2d6, and see what I get, which is 4. So I'm pursued. You are pursued by a dangerous enemy of the referee's design. So now my game master, my referee, is going to get to, maybe there's a supernatural creature that haunts me. Maybe there's a rival to my family that's like always out to get us, and I try to make these banes and these boons, like these boons are obviously really nice, but I wanted to make the banes still cool and like that's a quest, right? So like doomed, like your family has been marked for death by a powerful entity or god and must undertake a perilous quest to remove the curse. So I mean, there's a penalty involved with that, but now the player is motivated to get rid of that, and you got instant like adventure quest material built right into character creation. And using a character's backstory, like you have a backstory and you don't have like 2 million word a 2 million word essay on who your character is. So I guess I should look at chat here and catch up. I'm really enjoying the art and clean layout back to yesterday. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And Nostromo asked if I... Oh, it's being weird for me.
Laggy or?
Yeah. Am I lagging?
Yeah, your video is also lagging a little bit.
Oh, weird. Sorry, guys. I can hide my face if it's annoying. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe my wife is streaming something. I don't know. Sucking up all the bandwidth. Yes, I did most of the interior art. There's a few public domain pieces in here. I'll point them out when I get to them. That I just thought they were so cool that I wanted to include them because they just fit it so perfectly. But mostly everything is drawn by me or based on actual illustrations from the codices that the Spanish had the Aztec natives make for them, where a lot of it was illustrated. So, I tried to make it feel like the illumination drawings in the codices, and then have my own like art style in there as well. So yeah, I did most of the interior art, like 95% of it is me.
Nice. There's one benefit you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna turn off my camera, I think, because I think maybe that's what the problem is.
Yeah, maybe because you're sharing and you have a camera on and you have audio and yeah.
Yeah. See if that helps a little bit. So yes, I'm glad you guys like the layout. I really tried, like if you look at some of my older stuff, like even Cowpunchers or Atomic Punk, like my layout's not great. So I've really tried to up my game and make sure that I'm doing it well this time, you know. And I also stole Victor's colors for
yes.
So.
I mean, it's a good color scheme.
And it's really great. It looks good.
It technically fits yours better. I can't even remember why I went with black and red. I think it just looked cool, but yeah.
It does look really cool. So status points are another thing that is very useful. So you don't have XP in this, and in order to advance your character, you'll probably notice like the Eagle Warrior here. It almost has like 5e level status points or XP level thresholds. However, if we go to adventuring here and we go to this section, where is it? Here we go. So this also will be part of advancement. So I have different actions or feats that players can do in game that will earn them status points in order to advance their characters. And these are going to be separated out through the party of players as the referee deems it. Or maybe if a player does something extremely dangerous and heroic, which I talk about a lot, you can award them the reward. And these are examples. Obviously, you can extrapolate from this if the players do something that is outside of these, but is similar, use a similar reward value. So like a big part of it is capturing human enemies for sacrifice or slavery. And like most enemies, they have a base XP, they have a base status point value for killing them. But if you bring them back alive, you'll get 5 times the value, which could be quite a lot, especially if you bring back like a powerful warrior. You know, you bring back an opposing Jaguar warrior or an elite warrior from the other side, or you bring back maybe a general or something like that. Like that guy could be worth a lot of points. So 5 times, and you know it's interesting. Humans for sacrifice will be your probably be the main loot that you're going for your as a player. And you know when you're playing traditional D&D, when you go into the dungeon and you get the treasure and you bring it out, you're generally not worried about your treasure escaping.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you are running this game, you're going to probably have enemies trying to escape. Your treasure is going to be trying to escape. So it adds a different element, I think, to the game than you would otherwise have. And because you have you can only command so many people and keep an eye on so many people. Human captives go towards your charisma score follower count, because if you have too many followers, you're not going to be able to take you're not going to be able to have a whole lot of control over watching prisoners too, which was kind of my logic. I was trying to gamify this and give players choices.
Yeah.
And tough choices that they have to make about how they want to advance their character.
I see you're conceiving a child on there, but I also notice you don't have a bard class. So how does that work?
Well, you'll notice that the character must be married.
Oh, okay.
Your character has to be married. The Aztecs, contrary to maybe what a lot of modern quote historians might try to lead us to believe, were actually what we would probably consider be conservative. They were very like family orientated. They had a sense of honor and duty to society, to their society. There was a sense of obligation, and there was going against the norm. You risked angering the gods. You risked the sun not rising the next day. So adultery was punished in extramarital affairs were punished in Aztec society.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised that people in 14 whatever were pretty conservative.
Yeah. It's, I wasn't trying to rewrite history here. I'm really trying to like play up to that. But yes, there is no bard class, but you do have to be married in order to get that bonus for having a kid.
So no seducing the dragon? Come on.
No seducing dragons. There's no dragons in this. There's Kipakli, but there's not giant crocodile monsters, but there's not real dragons. So so it's so laggy for me here. It's so weird. I'm assuming you have this comment up. So I like the hardback tier of your chaos, but live in New Zealand. Is this one of the select overseas countries mentioned, or can it be added for shipping? It is. Someone else from New Zealand messaged me, and I was able to look up their costs, and I added New Zealand on there. So I believe New Zealand is on there as a place to ship to. I'm using a fulfillment company called Flying Cloud Fulfillment. They gave me a very good price. They are able to get very good shipping rates that I otherwise wouldn't be able to take advantage of. So I should be able to ship to many different countries. If your country's not listed, let me know. But New Zealand should be listed on there. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to risk it, if the shipping's too much, and Drive-Thru RPG or my web store, which uses Lulu, is going to be. I'm going to put it on my web store as well as print on demand. Yeah, which will use Lulu. If that works for you, you can go that route. But I should be able to ship to most places if you just let me know. I can try to do it.
I did print on demand. I would have done the the fancy version because I don't know, I'm your friend and that's kind of what you do. But I've had bad luck with shipping lately. I didn't even get my 2 ebooks. They're lost. So I backed Neckberia's Kickstarter that he did, and the first time it got shipped, I just got an empty cardboard box. So I have really bad luck with shipping. So I'd feel so bad if like this awesome like leather bound like special copy just got lost because Dutch shipping people suck.
It might be USPS though. United States Post. Yeah.
They're also terrible. We have experience with that with the typewriters, but yeah.
But yes, it should be an option there on Kickstarter. So go check it. Should be like a selection, or should automatically select for you. I'm not sure exactly how it works. And what's up, Mr. Max? Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
I like his comment here.
Sorry. Which one?
I think it should be highlighting here. Awesome. I'm not alone. Oh no.
No.
Awesome. I'm not alone. I will back now. Shipping adds excitement of the 70s. Will my package arrive? If so, when? I have faith in the process. Good.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, hopefully, I'm sure there'll be some books that'll be lost in the process. But Flying Cloud Fulfillment have been really good. They came highly recommended to me by a couple different people, and they've just been nothing but wonderful people to work with and talk to through this process. So I think they'll do good work. I'm hoping they will.
Yeah.
But yeah, so where was I? I don't even remember where I was at. I think we were talking about character creation. We had alignment, Zodiac signs. You have your Zodiac sign here. You have a lucky day or an unlucky day. We were talking about advancement and status points. It's kind of like XP, but thresholds are lower. One thing I should say, we'll look at equipment in a minute here. Status points are used to buy equipment, to pay for followers, to pay for rations, you can ride people with it. It's essentially the currency of the game. So you have to make a choice as a player. Do you want to use, so like my players, for instance, when their grudge against Texcoco, wanted to sail across or canoe across Lake Texcoco. So they had to buy a canoe, and it was very expensive to buy a canoe. So they're like, do we spend our status points on a canoe, or do we spend it on leveling up? And they wanted to get to Texcoco and cause some damage, so they spent it on a canoe. So now they own a canoe on Lake Texcoco. But
nice.
So you have to make that choice. And I do have rules, very simple rules. It's just really basic outline for like strongholds. If the players want to build a temple, if they want to build a fort, if they want to build any of that kind of stuff, if they get to a high enough level, they can do that. So I did include that. Here's your character sheet. I realized I forgot movement, so I made sure to add movement to the character sheet. I realized when I made the quick start rules, I was like, it doesn't have a movement spot for a player to write movement in it, and so then I made sure to add it. I didn't fix it in the quick start rules. Whatever, it's free. You get the idea of what the game is about, but I made sure to add it in here.
Don't you hate when you miss something obvious and you don't notice until like the book's like already out and printed?
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I mean, it's really just me, and I've had my play testers. They've looked over the book, and I've given this to Subscribestar and Gilded and YouTube supporters already. But yeah, I'm always worried about that, and I'm sure stuff will get in there. I think all of you guys are pretty forgiving in a lot of ways to create creators that are doing this kind of stuff like me on their own as best as they can, and I hope you can see that this is like me trying to make as professional a product as I possibly can.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got a lot of this flavor text in here too. I just thought it was really cool. I like, this one is my favorite. Is it true one really lives on the earth? Not forever on earth, only a little while here. And then there's a guy getting his heart ripped out. So I don't know. I just thought that was pretty awesome. So I went with that route. So we got character classes here. Most classes are some kind of warrior class. And I'm going to check back in here with chat here. Reactionary Max is asking if I considered using any of those marketing companies. No, I didn't. I feel like I'm doing well enough on my own right now. I don't really need them. We're 67% funded right now, almost 68. We are 68. It just updated. 68% funded. So I think I'm going to make it. I think we're going to be fine. So I don't feel like I need to pay a marketing person to do what I've been able to do on my own. So
yeah.
Did you get lots of like emails like that when you did
yours? Oh yeah,
yet?
Constantly, dude. And some Nigerian dude kept like contacting me on Facebook.
Yeah, like, I've had some on Facebook too.
Yeah.
And even on Twitter, someone commented on my recent Twitter thing, like on one of my Twitter posts about it, like oh, would you want to help market? I'm like, no,
yeah, I saw that.
Like go away. I blocked them.
Yeah. It was either marketing people or people like yelling at me that I put guns in D&D. Like that was like all the messages I got. Like nobody was like asking me questions or whatever. If people liked it, they just backed it like quietly. It was only like weird bots and haters.
Yeah. I got a few weird questions, you know, like the ancestry thing. I talked about that on Twitter. Some people, I got messages on Facebook, which I shared. on Twitter, and I got messages on from directly on Kickstarter from non-backers. This person still hasn't backed, but they're wondering if I was, or anyone on the project was, of Nahuatl descent or Aztec descent, and you know, whatever. I have the right. I assure people I have the right, the quote unquote right ancestry to make this game. These are my ancestors, but or these are my ancestors' enemies. It's hard. I don't know exactly. I did an ancestry.com genetics thing, and like I have ancestors. My genetics show that I have ancestors that came directly from like central Mexico near Lake Texcoco and Tenochtitlan. So I mean, they could have been. I don't know. Maybe my ancestors were from Tlaxcala or something like that and hated the Aztecs. I don't know, but you know, I'm annoyed. Yeah, maybe a mix. I'm sure there's a mix, but you know, I don't feel like that matters. I don't feel like my blood is what gives me the right to make this game. It's the fact that I spent 2 years researching this.
Yeah.
So.
If it's anything like ancient Europe, you're probably like a weird mix. Like I'm sure, like I have like one of my ancestors was like just some Black Forest like barbarian, and then I have another ancestor which is like a Roman centurion. And then, like, I don't know, there's probably some people that did some bad stuff in 1930s in there. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, who knows at this point?
Let's see. So the K5K asks, will you be doing a speaking tour, quote, speaking tour, on other streams to spread the good word? I'm going to be on I'm recording a podcast episode tomorrow. I don't remember the name. I'll make sure to share it on Twitter. And I'll make sure to post it. Let me see if I can find it here. Maybe the guy messaged me on this here. So his name is Jeffrey Jones. He has a podcast called RPG Ramblings. So I'm going to be recording that tomorrow. I'm going to be recording a separate podcast from, let me see here. It's in my messages on Kickstarter now. From a podcast called Nerds RPG Variety Cast. So I'll have links. I'll make sure to share them out when I do that. And then Saturday I'm going to be on Raven Wolfguard's stream on Saturday morning. It's going to be 9 my time. I'm Mountain Time. But if you're interested in tuning in for that, I will be there for that as well. And then beyond that, you know, next week I believe I'll be on Rolling Bones with Ryan Howard as well to talk about it as well. So I'm going to do the best I can to get on there. I've tried to get, you know, interest from other bigger YouTubers than me, even in the OSR space. No one seems really interested in talking about it. You know, maybe if once maybe they'll be interested now after the Kickstarter has become a little more successful. But you know, so far I've just been kind of my own bootstraps doing this here, which is fine. It's been doing well just with that. It feels almost more rewarding without a big bump like that. But you know, I won't complain if I get a big bump either.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I would invite you to the Dutch oven, but it would pretty much just be this. And it's the same audience anyway, so yeah, it wouldn't really benefit you, I don't think.
Yeah. So Willie asks, what's the page size? At the moment, it's 173 pages. And he asks, is it comparable to a D&D manual, i.e. US letter? No, it is digest size, so it's probably closer to what you're looking at here, paperback dimensions. It's going to be about 5.5 by 8.5. So I like digest size books. That's the size that I made Cowpunchers Reloaded. That's the size that I made Atomic Punk. I think for games like this, it's a perfectly acceptable book size. If I was doing something really complex like Vic's 5e book or something like that, where I need big stat blocks and lots of space, I'd probably go letter size. But I don't feel like, you know, White Box wasn't printed on that size. I wanted to try and keep that everything kind of that traditional thing there.
Yeah.
So, and I like digest size. Insert name here as a question about the setting, running it. He said, at the basic expert, after having run the setting a number of times, how would you describe the average session? Players are going to get the chance to be as evil and awful in the game world as they want to be, and they're going to be rewarded for it. So if you're into that, this is the game for you. And if your players are into that, it'll be the game for you. Yeah, like, see, what do my players have done? They've burned the markets of Texcoco and raided a merchant. They robbed a merchant in Texcoco. They tricked him into thinking they were merchants, took all his goods, and put it in the canoe and sailed back, or rowed back across Lake Texcoco as the markets burned. While they did that, they also captured a merchant of Huasteca and his guards for sacrifice. Ooh, what else have they done? They've foiled the army of Texcoco, an army of force of it trying to raid Tenochtitlan. They foiled that and murdered a bunch of Texcocans and captured a few for sacrifice. So, oh yeah, they used a slave as bait for a monster. Shane was a player in this again, and there was a monster in Tenochtitlan, and they lured it out with a slave. So, like, yeah, you know, they're not, by our standards, the players are not good people. By the relative standards of what the Aztecs were and are and believed, they were quite heroic. So.
Yeah.
So there's that. I'll go back down more here. I do have this note about female characters, so this might rub people the wrong way. I've had some people that looked at this give me some pushback that I wouldn't. Pretty much the rules don't allow females to be Eagle Warriors, Jaguar Warriors, or Otomi Mercenaries, or Shorn Ones, and that's because I really wanted to keep it traditional. I really wanted to keep it flavorful to what the Aztecs were, and I felt like superimposing our modern sensibilities over who the Aztecs were was wrong and disrespectful to the culture, and not presenting them as they were or who they are. So, you know, this might rub people the wrong way. It's not out of maliciousness. It's not out of like being a shitlord or something like that. It's purely from a standpoint of keeping the setting authentic. So I hope people hear that and take that away from it. Females can still be merchants, Huasteca characters. They can still female characters can still be Huasteca. They can be Nwahali. There were female priestess, and they can still be those classes. And those classes, the Nwahali is very powerful. So it's not like women are even necessarily less powerful, but you know, I just hope that people see where I'm coming from and that this isn't like a men are great kind of thing. It's just, this is how they were. This is what their society was and how they believed. You can of course hand wave this if you don't want it, but know that you are not being authentic to the setting, which has been my goal in making these rules. So
I'm gonna add AK-47s anyway. So
yeah, there you go. I wouldn't expect anything less from you, but to the K5K, if you're aiming to create a game with realism and authenticity, I can't see why people would expect any different. Yeah, you know, I'm just throwing it out there because I know I've already got the race question from me. What is my ethnicity? I've already been grilled on that. So like just throwing that out there, like I'm trying to be respectful of what the culture actually was. So
there's a bunch of dudes whipping hearts.
Yeah. So you got Eagle Warriors here. They're pretty much like Rangers. They're scouts. They are good fighters. They are good warriors. Their prime attribute is dexterity. You are not really restricted in any weapons or armor, although you're going to be sort of restricted in armor. You can wear the Eagle Warrior war suit. You wouldn't obviously put on the Jaguar Warrior war suit, which the Jaguar Warrior war suit gives you slightly better AC, but it's not like it's bad with the Eagle Warrior. And the Eagle Warriors have been quite effective in our playtesting game. It's actually been a pretty sweet class to play. After playtesting it, I'm quite happy with how it turned out. And Matt has been a Eagle Warrior. Shane is a Jaguar Warrior, and it's been a lot of fun. So you do have a sneak attack, which is very similar to the Thieves, but I do skills a little bit differently that are on a D6, very similar to White Box FMAG. So, at level 1, if you're trying to do like any stealth, survival, tracking, climbing, moving silently, trap detection, or anything like that would be related to a scout, you have a success range of 2. So on our D6, you roll a 1 to 2. You're going to be successful at what you're trying to do. You're trying to sneak, roll a D6. I rolled a 6. Not going to happen. And you'll notice that you have attack bonuses here if you're using descending AC. I say this in the book, but I'll say it here too. Do not use this. It'll throw everything off. Instead, use the attack matrix if you're using descending AC. This is for if you're not using the attack bonus is only for if you're not using descending AC. If you're using ascending AC, because I do give you the option to use both things. I'm not super mean and making you just use descending. I know there's some of you that are mathematically challenged, so you struggle with subtraction. So I do give you the addition option. We have the Jaguar Warrior. This is more like a traditional fighter. I even gave him the 1 HD extra attacks against 1 HD enemies ability. You get and one thing I should point out too is all classes have a single saving throw score. I went kind of swords and wizardry mode like that. I think that's one of the best innovations for me personally that I love. That swords and wizardry I felt like really did well. You can disagree with me on that if you like the traditional saving throw matrix, but I like just a single saving throw score, and that's you get pluses and minuses based on your status or your abilities and whatnot. So you got a Jaguar Warrior though. Again, he gets, like I said, a bonus against poison and death. So that's, his saving throw is 14. If he's poisoned, he's going to roll a D20 plus 2 and try and beat 14. So he's good at fighting. You can see, this roughly lines up. The attack bonus roughly lines up to the attack matrix. If you subtract this from 19, you'd get the to hit number. Mm-hmm. Slightly more status points to get there. And again, you can see he starts out with a +1 hit on his hit die, plus any other bonuses from Constitution, your Zodiac sign, anything like that. You got the Pachiteca, which is the merchant. They're a pretty cool class. I would say that this is actually a very useful class. You are kind of restricted on weapons, but the merchant does give extra status points for being in the party. So this person's kind of help you guys advance a lot quicker just due to him being there. He's good at traveling. He's going to spot things a lot easier on the road, and he's good at making diplomacy and negotiations and deals. So there's going to be bonuses to that. So pretty much the way this works is if the merchant is in your party and you're doing a reaction roll against characters, enemy characters, let's say, or people that might be sketched out by you, you roll 2d6 or you roll 3d6. It's kind of like advantage in 5e. You roll 3d6. You take the 2 of those 3d6 that make for the best reaction roll, and you take that roll. You add those 2 together, and you'll use that as your reaction roll. So they're going to have a higher chance of schmoozing their way, I guess, when they meet people.
Yeah, that's cool.
And they get cool backpacks that strap around their head. I know Mr. Max loves the backpack. So
do squats while wearing that.
So yeah, let's look at the Nohali. They are a shapeshifter kind of priest. They are restricted to daggers, wooden batons and clubs. So they actually get a little bit more. These are actually pretty powerful compared to like a traditional 0E spellcaster. Spellcasting is gated in a different way, which we'll get to in a bit. But you're able to shapeshift into any of these forms, a jaguar, dog, turkey, owl, or ghost woman, any of those. and the duration of the transformation is equal to the Nwahali's level and turns. So a level 1 Nwahali could be a Jaguar for 10 minutes, essentially, because the turn is 10 minutes. Oh, I need to fix this. I don't know why that's there. That's funny.
Oh. Yeah.
Something got copied and pasted in there. That's
I've
funny.
had that happen too.
So it happens when you edit stuff. But you can see they take a little bit longer to level up. They don't get as good of attack bonus despite having decent weapons, and their hit dice aren't as great. And you got your spell slots and levels per level here as well. You have the Atomi Mercenary. This is the first of 2 classes, along with the Shorn one, that are sort of gate-kept by tougher, like hard abilities to roll. So you got to have a strength score of 15 or more and a dexterity of 12 or more. These guys are good with bows. They get a +1 with bows. They get the similar battle fury to the Jaguar Warrior, and they get a +1 attack bonus with a weapon of the player's choice when they create it. And they are good ambushers. So they increase the surprise range of enemies because they're just, these guys are just like elite special forces warriors pretty much. Very similar progression to the fighter though.
Nice.
And you have the Shorn one. These guys are kind of like the paladins. You have to have a strength of 15 or more and a charisma of 16 or more. And at a certain level, they will be able to cast spells at level 7. They start casting spells as like a level 1 Nwahali would. So that could be quite powerful. Although if you're wearing heavy armor, that could affect your spell casting ability at the discretion of the referee. I feel like I'm super lagging and I can't see the chat. Like my screen is just like, oh, there it is. So I'm going to have to rely on you, I think, Vic, to help with questions here if there's any.
Yeah. So far, it hasn't been really much. People just saying that it looks cool.
Yeah. I like Sly Blue Demon's comment here. Like, I try to give some leeway here. I can't tell you how to run your games. I'm going to tell you what I suggest, but at the end of the day, you bought the book, it's in your hands, and I can't come to your house or I can't call the RPG police and tell you have to run it a certain way. So, I know that there's going to be GMs that hand wave that, and they're going to allow female Jaguar warriors or female Eagle warriors. And, there's nothing I can really do about that. But I did try to make it clear, like my intention is to make this about to be authentic, So equipment, weapons can break. If you miss, the DM is your referee is going to roll a d6. And on a roll of 1, your weapon breaks, and you have a -1 penalty to damage rolls to a minimum of 1 point of damage. You can fix weapons with new obsidian edge blades. So like you have your Macuahuitl, and they were designed so that the blades, the obsidian edged blades, were often inset into the wooden club with pine resin. And so they were designed so that when they would break off, you could just like put a new blade in, re-glue a new blade in, and you'd be fine.
Yeah.
So there is a chance that your weapon is going to break and it's going to become slightly less effective. Obviously, things like clubs and stuff like that will be less likely to break, but it's still a possibility. The thing with clubs, which will be useful, is they don't do as much damage, and there is an optional attack matrix, which they're not as great on, but you do not have a penalty when you're attempting non-lethal damage, like you would with a Macuahuitl.
Yeah. And, the whole thing is about capturing slaves, so...
Yes, or sacrifice victims. So clubs do provide, like, they remove the penalty for doing non-lethal damage. There's like a -1 or 2 penalty to attack rolls when you're declaring that you're going to do non-lethal damage. The clubs negate that. Although, again, they're not going to be as effective if you're really trying to kill people either. So
yeah,
there is that.
You're probably going to do better if you don't kill them, so yeah.
Yeah. So, I got the names, the traditional names here. Macuahuitl, which is a wooden baton. You got your Macuahuitl. It's this Topili. And the ITZT is just like, that's a hard one That's a hard one to do. Our mouths are not designed for that.
That
But
last one, the spear, that's what you should have named the game, just to mess with people.
yeah, I'm sure it would, that would commit suicide to the game. I still can't pronounce this, and I'm not.
Yeah.
Um,
I give up.
yeah,
Something.
it's a
Pili pili.
it's a spear. You know,
Yeah.
I gave it in parentheses so you know what it is. Like, if you don't want to use this term, it's there for flavor. But you can say spear, you can say halberd, dagger. And so yeah, you got your weapon damages here. You see everything's based around a D6, like OD&D. Although OD&D was all like everything's just a D6. I did try to add some variation here. So like a two-handed Macuahuitl is 1d6 plus 1, whereas like a Tepatl dagger is 1d6 minus 1. So
Yeah.
I try to add some variation there with damage, so that it's not just a straight D6. Because I know some people want to have that. You could roll with this the traditional way and just have everything be a D6 if you wanted to, though. There's nothing wrong with that. It's totally fine and traditional. Try and look back here. I'm still frozen, but I think it's still working. Is it still working on your end? Like it's.
Yeah, you're still moving and stuff.
Okay, cool. I don't know what my problem is. I think, like I said, I think my wife might be streaming something. Might be affecting my internet here.
You've got that that rural internet.
Yeah. So you got missile weapons. You got Natlatl, which increases range and damage. You got your Macuahuitl, which is your quiver. Timatlatl, which is your sling. I'm not going to try this one. I've tried it multiple times, but
that should have
so
been the
hard.
title.
Yeah, right there.
Tlaloc Macuahuitl.
Close, yeah. Macuahuitl, which is your javelin, and you have a bow. I don't have multiple types of bow. I just went with a single type of bow, just for the sake of simplicity. And again, like you noticed too, like there's a cost in status points. You do roll 3d6 for your starting status points to traditional like purchase. Well, there's a weird thing going on here. What is going on with that? Oh, there we go. It's just my computer being weird. You do have the cost here, ranges, all that good stuff. Armor class, you are given the option of ascending armor class or descending, and you do have various like the cloth laminate armor, the war suit, wooden shields, and a light shield as your armor, and no armor as well. The cloth laminate armor is like the only armor that Nwahali can wear, and you can see you have unarmored at 9, and the cloth laminate armor, the best you're going to get as a spellcaster is 7 AC.
Yeah.
And then you can actually wear the cloth laminate armor in conjunction with a war suit. So that is a way of sort of stacking armor, because that's what they traditionally did. So there's not very many armor options, but you can wear, again, the cloth laminate armor underneath your Jaguar war suit, for instance. So that would improve your AC by 5. So you're going to have an AC of 4. And then you get, a shield. You get a big, large wooden shield, and you're at AC 2, which is pretty much like the best you can get in OD&D, or 3. So, I tried to spread out the ACs there so that you can, or I tried to spread out the armors that are combos there so that it's sort of like, it sort of gives you the same sort of ability to have like plate armor and stuff like that you had in traditional one, where you had like, oh, there's chain, there's plate, there's boiled leather, all that stuff. So
yeah.
Someone was saying the missile title looks compressed with no spaces in between. Let me go back and look at that.
Yeah, I didn't notice, but let's see.
It might be.
I see it. There's no space. Yeah, there above the
right here.
Yeah, above the table.
Yeah, I might need to move that. I got space here. I can move it down.
Well, you just need to add a space between missile and weapons.
I see what you're saying.
At the very top.
Oh, they're talking about. Okay, yeah. Let me see. What page is that? It's 40. Thank you. Missile weapon. All right, taking notes. I don't know what happened there.
That's stuff like that just creeps in, dude.
Yeah. Nostromo says, John, you failed to piece Tlaloc with sufficient sacrifice. Your bandwidth, your bandwidth shall suffer the consequences. Yeah. I don't know. This has happened a few times before in the past. I think it's just my internet being shoddy. Whatever, it happens. Then we got your basic equipment. I added war canoe because the players wanted to have a canoe, and there is Lake Texcoco and many lakes and rivers around. And actually, war canoes were a big part of Aztec warfare, so I was like, it needs to be in there. But you have some of the basic adventuring gear. It's very similar to what you'd find in original Dungeons and Dragons. You got your backpack, and I even got the words for them. Stakes, tents, food rations, torches, all that kind of stuff. Water skin. I couldn't find a name for water skin. I didn't really know if they had one, but I assumed that they had some way of carrying water. But just in my search of Nahuatl words, I couldn't find something for water skin, or war canoe. So, I just went with the English words for those, unfortunately. But it is what it is.
Yeah, probably because it's something like, I don't know, water skin tulul.
Let's see here. Got rules for followers, how much they cost, what they are, what they do, their costs and status points, their loyalty score. So you're going to throw 3d6. It's going to be modified by your charisma score. And, all morale checks are based on like 2d6 target number 8. So, if they have a high loyalty score, they're going to have a bonus to the morale check, Actually, I think this needs to be the other way around. I need to fix that. Thinking of how the morale checks work, you're trying to roll under 8, I believe. So we'll have to figure that out. I'll have to go back and look at that.
You got time.
Yeah. I have a list of other notes that I need to look at, too, of stuff to fix. So,
yeah, I'm in the same spot right now because I'm updating modern necessities. So,
yeah, it's a constant battle, especially, like I said, when you're by yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got spells here. This is probably where a lot of people are super interested in. I have 37 new spells that are... Some of them are plays on traditional D&D spells, just a handful of them. Most of these, like they're a reskinned spell, but most of these, like 90% of these, are all new spells. So you have lots of options here. You could easily drop this spell list into whatever OSR game you're playing, and it'll work fine. The difference here is gaining spells. So I know Holly is kind of like a priest, so they're kind of like a cleric. But I didn't want to just have it so that the player was just given spells, because a cleric has access to most spells of their level. Like as soon as they have access to level 1 spells, they get all the level 1 spells, right? They can, if their god is willing to grant it, they get that spell when they're selecting spells for the day. But I wanted to make it more difficult because this is a highly ritualized society. This is a society where sacrifice and things were important. So there is a reaction roll mechanic in attaining spells. So you're going to roll 2d6. It's going to be modified by various modifiers the day that the spell is being requested on. Is it an unlucky day or is it a lucky day? Which means you're going to have to keep good timekeeping. Is it at odds with the current Zodiac sign that is going on right now? It's a Zodiac sign that involves healing, and so the player is trying to cast like a curse spell that will cost sickness. There's going to probably be a -1 to the reaction roll because the gods are like, yeah, buddy, you're trying to do something that we're not doing right now. If it falls within the purview of that Zodiac sign, +1. If you offer a sacrifice, you do kind of like the Pochteca ability where you roll in 3d6, take the 2 dice that make for the best reaction roll. And then you consult the table here. This 3 to 5, the spell is denied. 2 or less, the spell is denied and the character cannot petition again for like up to 6 days, which could screw a character over. But the gods are fickle. The gods can be pissed.
Yeah.
6 to 8's uncertain. Roll again. It will take another hour. And then 9 to 12, the spell is granted. So, and when a player character casts a spell, you can roll reaction roll by the referee on a roll of 11 or 12. So, really good roll. The spell slot is not spent. The gods are pleased with you, and you were able to cast that spell for free. It does not burn up a spell slot. So, pretty simple rules, but I was trying to give, again, a sort of different flavor to the game as far as spells are concerned. So I hope people find that interesting. And again, you got lots of cool spells. I'm not going to go through all of them. The fellows over at Black Lodge Game kind of went over a lot of these spells. I gave them an early version of this to look over, and they enjoyed looking at the spells. If you have the Quickstart rules, you can read all the level 1 spells at your leisure. But yeah, you got 5 levels of spells here that are quite. There's a lot of cool ones. Blood Curse of Tlaloc. Let's see, what was my favorite one? I gotta scroll to it. It's one of the Shipe Toltec ones. The Shipe Toltec skinning ritual. This gruesome spell calls upon the power of Jipe Totec, the Aztec god of renewal, agriculture, and sacrifice, to flay the skin of the victim's body, of a victim's body. I need to fix that. The caster must flay the victim with a sharp obsidian knife. The caster then wears the skin as a gruesome symbol of the devotion to Jipe Totec, gaining a +2 bonus to reaction rolls due to intimidation, and the wearer's AC is improved by 2. So it effectively works armor for a limited period of time before the AC, 36 days pretty much, before the skin starts to stink and become disgusting. And then all of a sudden there's a -2 penalty to reaction rolls because you're smelly, you have rotten flesh on you, and you lose the AC bonus.
Nice.
So, a lot of the spells are like that. This is a higher level spell. It's 4th level. But a lot of the spells I tried to make like in this flavor here. So,
yeah.
And I got people. This is awesome. I got people looking up terms here for me, which is great.
No, when it wasn't the Z, X, what was it?
Shipuepili.
Okay.
Shipuepili. It's a leather sack. So this question here: do followers take a share of XP? Is that a BX thing? I kind of leave that open. I believe so. I have to go back and look at my rules. The guys in the playtest, they're at a point where they want all the glory themselves, and they want to have room for captives. So they've not used underlings, hirelings, or followers as much. But I would probably rule that followers would get some share of it. I try to keep it in the white box style of white box feels very like there's a lot of holes and room for interpretations. It's partly why Gary wanted to make AD&D, but I feel like that's a feature, not a bug of 0E. I like that aspect of it. So I try to go that route. You leave lots of things to game master to referee interpretation. So this is an image that I got from the public domain, and I just thought it was super cool, so I stuck it in here because I just thought it was sick.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like from some artist from like the 1800s who's like drawing Aztec relics, and I just thought it was so cool, so I stuck it in here.
Yeah.
So then we got adventuring rules. I got rules for gaining status. Again, we kind of went over this. Time. I talk about keeping track of time will be extremely important. You got movement speeds and weight carried for like encumbrance and stuff like that. Typical stuff. Light. I got repairing weapons, and again, like this stuff's all hyperlinked, so I tried to make sure to really do that. This is where I get like the cost of strongholds, like what it would cost to build one, and then the amount that they would earn per month, which I might adjust these figures still. I'm still I'm still testing this stuff out. But yeah, you can build a small temple, a large temple complex, a stronghold of some kind for the emperor or whatever it is, and you're the one that runs it. You got healing. You recover 1 hit point per day. I didn't go as brutal as 0E, where you get nothing the first day, and it's the second day that you do it. Mostly because one thing I will get to in a minute is this game uses exploding dice. So, I'm trying to give it like a somewhat of a balancing act here.
Yeah.
Got your D6 tests for strength, exploration rules. So we got random encounter tables here for you. And then someone had asked on the Kickstarter, is this going to have like solo gaming stuff? And I don't have an oracle or anything in this, but with basic random encounter tables like this, and then I have 4D20 tables of like random things that you would discover, and I have rules for it. So they're kind of taken from Scarlet Heroes rules, because I think those exploration rules are really cool. So like the range increases every day that you travel. And then that means that like you might discover something. So roll a D4, and then that's the table that you roll on, and then roll a D20, and that's what you would find. So like I'll do it right now. I rolled a 3, and on table 3, I'm going to look at entry 4. And that's going to be a giant tree with an elaborate refuge of some monstrous entity or entities. So like I stumble across something bad.
Nice.
like some kind of spiritual creature or something like that. Ghost or something, something terrible, something not human. So there's lots of stuff like that players can run into and you discover, and you could use this for solo gaming. I love the sandbox zero prep style game, and I put these tables in here as a simple little tool to allow referees to make stuff up on the spot, or give players give game masters and players an ability to generate interesting stuff on the fly. And I have a section here on using the wilderness as a dungeon, getting lost, because there's not really dungeons per se. Like there's no, the Aztecs did believe that caves were like entrances into the womb of the earth. Like they were entrances into like the literal womb of the earth. But like, and they could lead to Mictlan and stuff like that. Generally, I don't think a warrior would want to go into Mictlan. Mictlan is where you would go when you were old. Old people went to Mictlan who died of like natural causes. Warriors wanted to die in battle and become the part of the envoy of the sun. So, but you can use the wilderness as a dungeon, and so I give some advice on doing that. Like the dungeon is the wilds and all that kind of stuff. So there is stuff for that, and then I give you NPC generation for like names, their social class, and their attitudes and dispositions, so that you can generate NPCs on the fly. And of course, you could use these names to name your character if you wanted to as well.
Yeah.
So. Like Shane's comment, reskin one spell requires skin. Are you going to do any modules in your zone, a Toltec pyramid or something? The Quickstart rules have like a very simple dungeon that was based on the adventure you guys did, the first one you guys did when you were sent to retrieve some ancient Toltec artifacts from a dungeon, and you ran into a ruined temple, and you guys were sent to go do that. So I did sort of turn that session into like a very simple pre-written adventure. I added some more terrible things to it than you guys encountered that I thought would be interesting, because everything that happened with your guys was sort of generated randomly. So I kind of took what was randomly generated and edited it a bit as a pre-written adventure. It's not super great, but it'll get people started and kind of teach them the flavor and vibe of the game and how monsters work and stuff like that. So, but like, temple generation and stuff like that would be cool. I have thought about adding another appendix of like a temple layout. I think that might be beneficial, but I haven't gotten to that yet. And then Nostromo, our Chunkla is part of the weapon list. Legends say that if wielded by righteous hand of an aggravated woman or abuela, women can be deadly weapons. Yes, I saw the Chunkla many times growing up. So
is that the slipper?
Yeah, that's the sandal slipper.
Yes.
Yeah, we got some art here. I like this piece that I did here. This is a fun one to draw. And then we got combat stuff. We got reaction rules for surprise. I think if you guys are familiar with White Box, there's nothing super new about this. Side initiative. I went with side initiative in this because it's great. Here's your attack matrix if you're going to be using descending or ascending, I guess, if you could use for ascending. I don't know why you'd do that, but you can. But these are the rules you need to hit these descending armor classes. And each class obviously has their own matrix that progresses differently. So you can see like the Nohali has less, so they're stuck with kind of crappier attack rules, and say like the Eagle Warrior, which that's not even as good as the Jaguar Warrior. So and then here's what I was talking about, where you have weapon versus armor attack matrix. Like if you're into that sort of thing, I use this when I run the game. I think it adds a little extra something to the game, and which I quite like. I just love attack matrices. So I added this into here. So kind of harkening back to the, not White Box, but to Chainmail and a little, obviously, Greyhawk Supplement 1. Damage. So damage is rolled with a d6, as you guys saw. However, it does use exploding damage, meaning you could die very easily even if you have a lot of hit points. So I
guess we lost John. So it's just me. Hi everyone. Damn. This is awkward. I wasn't. I have nothing to say. I have nothing to show. Buy modern necessities. Or buy my 5e book. Get me to silver. I'm one sale away from silver. Well.
Can you guys?
There we go. Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
That was awkward. I was like looking around, and I look at my screen, and it was not just me. I'm like, oh hi.
Sorry, everyone. I don't know what happened there. Let me get it back up. Hopefully, I'm not boring you guys. Okay. I don't know what happened. My internet seems fine now. Does it seem fine?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
Maybe it was your browser acting up or something.
Maybe. I used Brave. Could have been Brave just being stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So damage rolls, exploding dice. Death, you're dead at 0. I do give an optional rule. This is optional, but binding wounds. That's if you want maybe a little more heroic game. Morale rules, saving throws, and like this stuff's pretty simple. I think that's what I love about White Box, is like the combat and counter stuff is just so simple, and you don't need to really worry about much. Doesn't have any extra bloat. It's lean and mean, but effective. And we've had a lot of fun in combat in Macuahuitl playing it. So this is Dunder Moose says, is there a Macuahuitl Appendix N? Sort of. It's going to be a lot more academic. then like there's Appendix B resources. So these are like a lot of the main resources I used as research. There's the Handbook of Life in the Aztec World by Manuel Aguilar Moreno. Aztec Warrior, AD 1325 to 1521 by John Pohl. Lots of different books here. Some of the Florentine codices, Aztec Philosophy, Understanding a World in Motion, Aztec and Maya Myths, Aztec and Maya, Ancient Mesoamerica Revealed, which is the Great Courses Plus, or the Great Courses. Shane shared these with me, who was a player, and it was really good. And it was very informative. It kind of goes into Aztecs and Mayas. It kind of switches back and forth. But if you're interested in that, I really recommend that lecture series on the Great Courses. So I have that kind of listed in here. So it's not a very exciting Appendix N type thing, but it will give you. Yeah, that is weird. I don't know why it is using.
Yeah, like normally, like didn't they add it as a feature? But I don't see it anymore.
Maybe it's because it booted me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It thinks you're me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It still shows me as me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shane says it stopped him from chewing gum. In Aztec society, only men chewed, or only women, prostitutes, children, and old people chewed gum. So men didn't chew gum.
Well, I'm an old prostitute, so yeah.
So hopefully that answers your question. It's not like I said, the best. It's not going to be. This isn't exciting stuff to read if you're not super into it. But we'll get to some of the setting stuff where I try to give you the basic stuff you need to run the setting well enough. So yeah, let's go back to the combat setting here. So then we get chapter 7, which is chapter 7 is probably the biggest chapter. There's a lot of stuff in here, and this is all setting information. So we have the origin of the Aztec people, their exodus from Aztlan to the Valley of Mexico, and how they sort of forced their way into society among the Chichimec and other people within that region. So you got all that stuff. I gave you the creation of the universe, the myth of the 5 suns, what went on, how they were created, how they were destroyed. And then this, obviously the 5th sun is the most one of the most information. Religion and ritual. I talk about the calendar. So there's a 365-day calendar. It's actually 360 with like 5 like empty days, but I just count it as 365. And there's the 260-day sacred calendar, and they sort of like linked up as like a gear. And every 52 years was like an Aztec century. So they viewed every 52 years. They were worried the world would end pretty much every 52 years. There's massive rituals and ceremonies and sacrifices to please the sun, to keep it in the sky. And I do link to this website here, which is called Aztec Calendar, which you can put in any date. So you could even go back. I want to know what it was on July 11th, 1325, because maybe I'm running my campaign during that time. And it tells you the Tercania and the phase or the period and all that good stuff. So this is a very handy website, and I link to it in the PDF.
Yeah.
Let me go back to setting. Kind of screwed up how it was working there. So yes, very azteccalendar.com. Check that out. Play around with that. You'll have fun. It gives you like famous people and their zodiac signs, and tells you yours if you put in your birthday what your sign would be. It's kind of fun stuff. And then you can kind of compare it to if you wanted to run a game, you could do we got some of the bros watching. You could do 1-to-1 birthday, and whatever your birthday is, that's your zodiac sign for your character. You could do that if you wanted to. So yeah, I got some information on festivals, different types of human sacrifice, some brutal art. They used to chop their heads off and put them on spikes to present them. So types of human sacrifice, you get information on that. a big old long list of all of the at least major Aztec gods and entities, and like a little blurb about them, so you know something about them. Obviously, you can research this more, use Appendix B to learn more. But you know, a lot of the gods are here that would really matter.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use these to add a lot of flavor. Link these up to spells. To, you know, when if a character's really trying to use one of Tlaloc's spells, you know, really they're petitioning that god for that power. So, you know, read up on Tlaloc, and you know, maybe that can help you with the reaction roll and attaining spells. Yeah, there's a lot of gods.
Did the gods have like rivalries and stuff? So like maybe if you like, you basically use the spells from one god too much, like the other gods are like, yeah, screw you. Like obviously, you know, you're the teacher's pet over there. We're gonna ignore you.
Yeah, there are some gods. So the brothers Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca, they're brothers, but they're sort of like opposite each other. And a lot of the previous worlds and suns ended because of their rivalry and bickering. So yeah, you know, they sort of put their differences aside for the fifth sun, but you know, these are fickle gods. You know,
Yeah.
they may change their mind, you know. But yeah, Tezcatlipoca is like another big god that he is the god of sorcery. Let me see if I can find his. You know, he's in here somewhere. I think he might be under Black Tezcatlipoca, because that's also what he was called. He's in here somewhere. But yeah, you got lots of different deities in here, so that you can
that's cool.
Flavor your setting with them, or steal them for your own setting. Throw them into your other setting of, you know, if you desire that.
Yeah.
Yes, the Aztecs believe that there are 13 heavens. So I kind of give the name and kind of like where they are and what they are. So like Ilhocatl Mesli is a heaven that's associated with Mesli, the moon goddess. It presents the celestial realm where the moon and clouds are in constant motion. Tlazteotl and Tiacapan, Ishquina, and Tecotzin are also present, representing deities associated with lust, illicit affairs, and sexual desires. So,
the bard heaven.
There you go. That's where the bards go.
Yeah.
So, like, I tried to give like different, all the 13 heavens here, what they are, and what gods reside there. And there are houses of the dead. There's different afterlives that people are sent to. You know, the second house was known as Calco, meaning place of the temple of the venerated corn, is realm of carefree play for young children. So, you know, young children that died, they'd go to this realm and have fun playing in this wonderful afterlife. There's an afterlife here where, you know, it's just like nursing trees that like produce milk, and it's where infants are kept for when the fifth sun ends. These babies will be put into the sixth world that would be created after the fact. They'd be reincarnated. So like infants that die go there, and then they're reincarnated in the next world.
Oh, nice.
After the fifth sun ends. So I give all this kind of stuff here. I give you Aztec society stuff, the different social classes, more info on women in Aztec society, because, you know, that's important. Aztec law, pretty much they, you know, pretty simple stuff, but they also had what is it called? This is a practice of trial by ordeal. So I give an example, like, for instance, an individual accused of theft might be required to retrieve a stone from the depths of a lake, while someone accused of adultery might be asked to consume a potion made from a poisonous plant. Like, if you survive, then you're innocent. If you don't, then obviously you're guilty. So that's a lot about how the Aztec law worked. Warrior culture, they did these things called flower wars, which were not fought for territory, but they were ritual wars fought for prisoners for sacrifice. So you got that. military service as a social ladder, the capture of warriors, what it was like to be captured. And this would be good for a GM to read if you want to, see how that would go if one of the player characters are captured and whatnot. So expansionism, they were an empire and they were not well liked, the Aztecs, by a lot of their contemporaries that they ruled over. Many chafed under Aztec rule. They didn't like it. So that's partly why so many sided with the Spanish when they arrived, because they were sick of it. So,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Like tired of giving you sacrifice victims and corn and cocoa beans and our cloth and textiles. We're tired of being poor. Well, you're all getting rich. We're going to side with these guys because we're sick of it. So
they have boomsticks.
They have harquebus. Military campaigns and supply. I have information like on how Aztec armies moved. Just it's more flavorful stuff. It's not really rules, but just real setting stuff about how their armies worked and how they marched and all that kind of stuff. Like here, the army in the field, how they'd exit the city. Even they did it a specific way as to not disrupt economic activity. And economics and trade. I got info on like what some of the biggest things that they would trade in would be. And I give you a timeline of events. You could drop your campaign anywhere in here and run it. And I give you, I was running it, the play test at the very, let's see, where did I run it here? 1375. I was running it during the rule of the first emperor, Macuahuitl. So you could run it during after the Triple City Alliance is founded, if you wanted to. So because Tenochtitlan becomes the dominant city-state. So like I'm running it like well before the Triple City Alliance occurred, which is why the players are at war with Texcoco. So
1503, they see some ships on the horizon. What are those?
Yeah, I actually stopped just short of the Aztecs coming. But there was a legend here that a comet was seen in the sky in 1517. I think they arrived in 1520, and this comet is said to be an omen of doom. So that was like just before the conquistadors arrived, just before the Spanish arrived. Then I give you a list of emperors of Tenochtitlan, their names, their length of rule, kind of a little bit about them and who they were, and maybe something, this guy, he led a military conquest against the Tlaxcalans, who were always bitter rivals. Tlaxcala was one of the confederacies that allied with the Spanish when they arrived. They were never able to conquer them. So, and I give you some basic information about some major locations. It's most of it is just like economic, and there might be this like temple in this city state or something like that. I don't list every state because city state because there's lots of them and there's not a lot of information known about them. So I did the best I could. We got enemies of the Aztecs. You can mine these for enemies for your players. Let's see. And then we get to the hex maps. These will be included for the digital. You will get like the full image of these so that you can dump these into VTT or print them out yourself. So this is like the zoomed out map of like all of Mexico. And you can see like this is where Tenochtitlan, the Triple City Alliance is. And then you got like the places in red are their enemies that they never were able to conquer. Then we get zoomed in maps of the city states where they're at. And you got like hexes. So this is like a sub hex here. So like, you can see the bigger hexes here. So these are about like 18 mile. The big hexes here are about 18 miles. And these are about 6 miles. Not completely accurate to the geography of Mexico, but I like the 6 and 18 division of hexes, 6 mile hexes, 18 mile larger hexes. So I just went with that. Not geographically accurate, but it works for a game.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
you get lots of maps. People seem to like these maps. I shared. There's a few pictures of these on the Kickstarter page.
You can always upload a map pack as like a separate drive to download on Drive to RPG.
I was just going to include it with the digital PDF.
Yeah.
Like if you back the digital, you're going to get the PDF, and then you're going to get like all this stuff, the character sheet.
But if people buy like the print on demand later on, do they also get the PDF? Or
yeah, I'm going to give print on demand people the PDF probably. Either for very cheap or maybe for free. I'm not sure. I'm not trying to rob you or your wallet. I'm always about like trying to give affordable games, to people that to have lots of fun without breaking your wallet.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get lots of maps here. You have many hexes that you can use to run your game in. I got a section on herbalism. There's 20 of them, so you could roll a d20. They all do different things. Yes, peyote is in here for those that want to know. There it is. You also have morning glory, or which the seeds were also used as a hallucinogen, and different kinds of mushrooms and different things like that could pretty much function as like healing potions or different buffers and things like that, as far as their uses. So you do have this. You could roll a d20 when the characters find something and be like, oh, I rolled an 8. What is that? The Nohali character, who would probably be the one to do this, comes across some mushrooms here, some menanakatl, or some meshishin. So lots of different things. I pretty much took all of these things. There's a particular codice that's all about the New World plants that the conquistadors came across, and I used that as a resource. It had like the Nahuatl name and the English name, pretty much, or the Western translation of it in there as well. So that's pretty much where I got a lot of these. There was a lot of repetition, so I had to be kind of picky, because most of them are just like, and this herb causes diarrhea to flush out your stomach. And then this one also causes diarrhea. Use this one to give yourself diarrhea. So
yeah.
Obviously there's only so much use for that. So I tried to kind of pick basic stuff.
That's always my problem with doing like narcotics for like a cyberpunk game or something. It's like there's only so many times you describe that this gives you like a burst of adrenaline and makes you like a psycho for like a certain period of time, So
I'm gonna go back and look at chat here. Is there anything interesting that I've missed?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Edgelord asks if I have rules for the ball game, and I didn't put it in here. I tried to do some research on it, and as far as what I know, and I might be wrong on this because I'm not an expert. Despite 2 years of research on this, I won't consider myself an expert. I know that some of the rules are not, like, a lot of the rules are a guess, and so I just didn't include it. I didn't want to guess too much. But I might revisit it and research it, and maybe I can add it as like a free supplement or something like that, if it seems like something that would be interesting.
Mm-hmm. It's like Blood Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I know with some of it, like the losing team was sacrificed, or a losing player was sacrificed, or something like that if you lost. So some more cool art. I did this one on stream.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Live on stream a while back. So you can go back and watch your previous natural ones and see me draw that one. Now we're at monsters. So we got, what this different stat blocks mean. We got the monster attack matrix for like their hit die and, what it takes to hit something. Then we got monster descriptions. I give you some basic animals. Some of them, like giant centipedes, you're probably familiar with, but I did some other animals here, like a coati, which is it's like a raccoon, which is normally like really small. But I just thought, it's fantasy. Why
Yeah.
not make it giant and
Yeah.
terrible?
Exactly.
Or like a giant horned lizard. Like there's small horned lizards. Like this is a mythical version of the Aztec Empire. So why not make giant ones, or crocodiles, giant crocodiles? There's jaguars, rattlesnakes. You get like lots of basic animals here. Giant tarantula, why not? That's fun. We got some humans here, so you can see, like, if you capture a commoner, instead of getting 10 for slaughtering the commoner, if you bring the commoner back alive for sacrifice, you get 50. So that's the benefit of capturing people alive.
Yeah.
And then I have the various classes, a basic common warrior, or you can use them as bandits. Eagle warrior, jaguar warrior, all that kind of stuff. The character classes, they're here as NPCs as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got our monsters, which people are probably very interested in. The Macuahuitl, which is like a creature that did this, just hung out in the water and drowned you, like
Based.
Ambush you and drown you, and it had a prehensile hand on its tail that it would drown you with, so choke you out and drown you with. I got Mexican Bigfoot in here. I felt like I had to add him. He's sort of like the bugbear of the
Nice
of the setting. He's kind of like the bugbear, and I added a monster of my own invention, which is the man of the fourth sun, which are like sort of like fish people, and man of the second sun, which are sort of like goblin ape people and monkey people, because they believed one of the previous suns, these people were evil and did not respect the gods, so the gods turned them into monkeys and then destroyed that world. And so I thought, because I needed more monsters for this, I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool, like, if there was a halfway hybrid version of these things that were like kind of still human, but they're more ape-like, and just they were evil during their sun, and they hate the gods' new pets, the new humans that they made. So they have very much like a lot of malice for humans of the fifth sun, and are actively violent towards them. So that's what these guys are. But let's go back up here. So we got Huihatateo and Tizmitzl. I can't do it. I'll try, guys. Like, I hope it helps you feel better, that you can feel confident in butchering the words, because I've been reading these for 2 years and I still can't say them right. They still trip me up. These things are terrible. They do like level drain and stuff. Some of them are pretty bad. Kipakli, which is like a giant crocodile. I kind of did my own little spin on this, because Kipakli was kind of chopped up and used to make the world, and it's essentially like a dragon of chaos, or like a giant crocodile of chaos, a giant sea creature that looked something like this. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if like pieces of the Kipakli like became smaller versions of it? Like there was these mythical giant crocodile dragon creatures that were out there, and they were just these beasts of chaos. So that's kind of what those things are. So I did do some like creative interpretations of this, of some monsters, to kind of gamify them and whatnot. Ishpush, Teki is not someone you want to run into. He's the conquistadors kind of viewed him as Satan. Like, you run into this guy, you're screwed. It's pretty much TPK, and I don't really care. So that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And then we got it for our furries here. We got like the jaguars of Tezcatlipoca and Tepeotl. So death bats.
Nice.
Those are more of a Mayan thing, but they're really cool, and they exchanged a lot of mythology with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to include that in there. And various ghosts and supernatural things, giants. Here's a giant here being slain by some Aztec warriors. The Quinimetsin. They were a different race from a different sun, and they have sorcerers and warriors and terrible things that you can, giant horned owl. I put the horned owl here and not in animals because owls were considered bad omens. They were considered something like very spiritual, almost like beyond an animal. So I felt appropriate to put them in monsters. So, and then undead. You have your various undead, were-jaguars, chocolate cup snake, which is this guy, another creature that was in the water and would just strangle you, drown you, lure you into the water because you would think there's like this cup of chocolate here. It would like enchant you and entice you with that. And then you'd go in the water and you'd get drowned. So
that would lure me. That would work on me. It's like, oh, chocolate.
Oh, I'm being strangled to death in the water.
Yeah. But I have chocolate though, so.
Yeah. I don't have a chupacabra, unfortunately. Sorry, Dunder Moose. I didn't put that in here. It's kind of more of like a modern thing. I don't know. I just didn't put it in. I guess I could add it, but the Aztecs, I don't know. I couldn't find a direct link to them. I mean, even the name chupacabra is like it's still Spanish. It's not like a Nahuatl word. Like chupa means suck. That's why that new movie Chupa has a lot of Latin America laughing at it about that like friendly chupacabra.
Yeah.
It's like chupa just means suck, and it's usually like in a sexual connotation when it's by itself like that. So like they just made this movie that's like the title is very sexual to native Spanish speakers, and
that's funny.
Yeah. So that's that. Those are the monsters. There's not a lot, but it's sort of like a lower magic setting, and player characters are going to be fighting a lot of other human characters more often than not, and then they're going to be fighting like a giant or a ghost or something somewhere in between there. So, and then we get chapter 10, which is treasure. So treasure is sort of like it's kind of represented in status points, and it's pretty much like the value of the treasure as it's determined. It's 1 pound per status point, and I don't go into detail as to what the treasure is. So if they're raiding like a village or something and they find quote treasure or loot, it's gonna, and let's say, like I say here, it's 300 status. Its value is at 300 status points. That's 300 pounds that they need to carry, and that could be anything from like cloth, cocoa beans, precious metals. It's going to be a mixture of stuff. I'm not. It's up to you as a referee to define that, because the game isn't about going into dungeons and looting things. It's about being a warrior and fighting and dying on the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
But I do give you tables for various like weapons and armor, for types of equipment, all that kind of stuff that you can have here. So for every 1,000 status points that there's a 10% chance that 1,000 I need to fix that. That's a typo. Is traded for a magic item, potion, or magical armor. On a roll of 1 to 3, it's a weapon or armor. On a roll of 4, it's a potion or concoction is found. On a roll of 5 or 6, it's a piece of equipment. So, you got all kinds of stuff like that you could use to make these rolls. Not traditional treasure tables, but obviously, like, the game is a little different than traditional D&D, so I had to kind of go a different route like that, and kind of change the way this thing worked. So then I give you some example of like unusual magic weapons and like some enchantments or effects. Let's see, magic weapon descriptions, magic weapon effects, magical armor effects. So, and then this one was also another public domain image that I just thought was cool, so I stuck it in there. Then we get to the appendices. We're coming up at the end of the stream here anyway, so it's perfect timing. You have it's a sacred calendar, and you can use this to mark off the days to help with your timekeeping if you need this. I would recommend using it. I'm going to probably include this as like a separate, maybe I'll include this as like a separate PDF as well, so that you can just easily print up this page and mark off days as you guys are adventuring. And then this will help you with like spell acquisition if you know like what the day is and what the phase is and all that kind of stuff. So got that. One time. Yeah, there you go. You could use it for one time. Then again, I already went over Appendix B. I went over the glossary, and You got a map of Tenochtitlan here at the end. I just thought that'd be cool to include. And then I give you also a hyperlinked index. It's not a super long or big index. I hate building indexes, but I try to do the best that I could. And they are hyperlinked. So you can click on these and it will take you to that page with that word if you're looking for something specific. So these are, all that stuff's in there. And then, this isn't finished yet because it hasn't completed yet, but all your backer names would go here.
Nice.
And that's the end of the book. 174 pages, 73 of actual useful content. Not counting. Well, no, you backers are very useful. Don't take that the wrong way. I just mean like gameable content. That's gonna be clipped and taken out of context. And
yeah, see all these pledges getting rescinded. No,
he says we don't matter.
No.
But hopefully this seems like interesting to you guys. This is a long stream, and thanks Vic for sitting here and putting up with it and looking at my thing.
Looking at your book. What did you think? Oh.
Yeah, we'll do that after stream.
Yeah.
And thank you, the K5K. I appreciate it. Really like what I'm seeing TBE. I've worked, I'm so nervous about it, which is why I wanted to show off the whole PDF. I want to be transparent about like what it is you guys are backing, and that the thing is completely done pretty much. A few typos here and there that need to be fixed. But the thing is pretty much done. I've been playtesting it all summer. We've had a lot of fun doing it, and it's been a good time. So hopefully you guys see it. It's this game is done. As soon as the Kickstarter is complete, I'm adding your guys' names into the book, and the digital is going to be going out right away to everyone that's backed it. So you're going to get the full digital game as soon as possible after the Kickstarter completes. And then after that, it's just a matter of getting print on demand set up on DriveThruRPG so that I can get that out to those of you that ordered that, and getting the books off to the printer for the hardback version as well. And the printer is in Lithuania. Greg from Chronicles of Iris recommended this printer. They've been really awesome to work with. They gave me a really good quote. Like, they were cheaper than even American printers, and that's even with importing the books. Yeah. So
that's wild.
I know some people were concerned. Some people on Twitter were like, "Oh, are you getting the books printed in China?" Because they saw me struggling to get an American printer. But no, they're not getting printed in China. They're getting printed in Lithuania. So hopefully that's cool with you guys. And they'll be imported into the States. And I'm gonna be working with a fulfillment company to get the books professionally out to you all, so I don't have to pull my hair out trying to ship out books myself to you all. And having this fulfillment company has allowed me to ship it to places like New Zealand or Netherlands or to Denmark and Germany and all these places that would be just too expensive for me to do on my own.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go give Vic a follow too. He's really close. You're almost monetized, right?
Yeah, I'm like 160 away from 1,000, I think, something like that.
Yeah,
and Vic, it's going pretty hard right now.
Yeah, Vic does a stream. Well, I guess you can talk about anything. I've talked about me this whole time, and you've been very kind. So you can go ahead and if there's anything you want to plug or anything like that too.
Yeah, you can watch me most Sundays on my stream, The Dutch Oven. It's just a random nerd hang. We talk about whatever. Usually ends up being about anime and Star Trek for some reason. I don't know why, but just something that happens. Then I also do a Tuesday stream with our good friend Crossface called One Shots, where we talk for like an hour about various tabletop topics, kind of like dissect some stuff. I'm also these days I'm on Saturdays. I'm on T-shirts Historian. What's the word? My brain's not working right now. But basically, the Weekend Geek is kind of redone the format. It's not another 1 hour show where we just kind of like handle like various geek topics as they happen during the week. Also tabletop games and stuff like that. Yeah, other than that, check out my books. I have Modern Necessities for Old School Essentials, Modern Themed Classes, Equipment, Guns, all that stuff, Old School Essentials. And I have a similar book, The Modern Adventurer's Guide to Guns and Gear for 5th edition. So yeah, check that out. I'm like one sale from silver on the 5th edition one still. So, and it's just like bugging me. So yeah.
Yeah, help him get to silver. I
Yeah.
backed his Kickstarter, so I got it on Kickstarter, and it's
Yeah.
a cool book. I backed the softback because I was poor at the time.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
But it's a neat book, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
that just because I did art for it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
that was kind of my passion project. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think the passion really, like, you could see it in that book. It's very detailed. I think it has the best 5e firearms rules out there. It's better than, what's that crappy one?
Everyday Heroes.
Everyday Heroes. I think it's better than Everyday Heroes. So
thanks.
Oh, an insert name here says basic expert. Did some pretty thorough research for a translation of water skin, water bag. No luck. Only canoe, boat, Akali. Oh, cool. So I will add that to the book. I'm gonna write that down. Boat, Akali. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope that if you had any misgivings about what this game is or isn't, I hope that this alleviates or, gives you a better idea of what you're getting into with your pledge. So I appreciate it all. I try to put a lot into a 173 pages. It's not a massive book, but you're getting a lot of stuff inside of it still, and it's a really cool rule set underneath it with 0E, I think. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for backing. Like when I put the Kickstarter up and it started trickling in, and then all of a sudden I'm like at 50% at the end of day 1 with like 28 days to go. I was like floored. I didn't think that would happen because I just thought, I knew that I was making a game that is a niche within a niche within a niche. And I just, I'm blown away by it all. So I appreciate it. It means a lot. So I think we'll end it here. Thank you guys all for watching and tuning in, and again, supporting the Kickstarter. And I think we can make it to, I haven't looked actually. Before we close out, what's it at? I haven't looked at it. We're at a 66,895. So we're almost at 69. Nice. So almost at 69%. So that's for me like nuts.
Yeah.
With 27 days to go. So I'm seriously humbled and feel blessed by all of you guys out there that have backed this. So I just appreciate it. But yeah, we'll end it here. I'm just rambling now. And thank you guys all for watching, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Bye, everyone.